Pero yung iba hindi ako sure. Bakit? Ano yung sa mouth part? Yung, hindi ako sure dun eh. Pero hindi ako sure sa tamang sagot. Ano sagot? Max. Pero baka man siya. Ako man. Ano? Pero sabi ni ang sagot na hostel. Ulo! Ulo! Di ba? Meron, pero hindi doon. Kailan parang nasagot ko yung mga bulog-bulog. Yung sa soft, ano, sinagutan mo, pero mali yung bulog. Ang Borton. Ha? Borton. Disk yung bilog. Hindi ko alam yung mga mali. Yan yung disk. Bag marami. Genital. Ano ba? Yung isa. Nasa bag. Yung pinakataas. Genital. Genital upper.
So, kahapon pa, kami na nagtatanong, may klase pa rin ba tayo sa Monday? Wala na? Hindi, ganito kasi, meron pa tayong isang topic, di ba? On the eye and ear. So, I understand, meron tayong exam sa Monday. Di ba? So, kung ayaw mag-klase, I will give you the recorded lecture. Gusto nyo? O mag-klase na lang. Okay, so we will have a class on Monday. Kaya ako kami tinatanong, huwag kayo mag-alis sa kanya. Tinatanong mo nga kayo, di ba? So, anong lecture ninyo? Paano yung traffic consultation para hindi kayo ibig sa ano? Anong gusto ninyo? Mag-class tayo sa Monday o recorded lecture on Monday? Okay. So, isa nyo na galing, speaking si Rogelio. Okay. So, I will give you during the lecture. Anyway, isang topic na lang yun on the disorders of the eye and ear. Siyempre, dapat ngayon, matapos natin ito, disorders of the endocrine system. Right? So, the next endocrine organ is the pancreas. Right? Of course, with the pancreas, the main or notable disease is diabetes mellitus. Because this is of endocrine disorder. While pancreatitis is simply not an endocrine disorder, but we'll just discuss it, since it may affect the function of the pancreas as well. So just a bit of the physiology of our pancreas, anatomy and physiology. Okay? So basically, the pancreas is considered both an endocrine and an exocrine organ, right? It's an exocrine organ because it is responsible for the secretion of enzymes, particularly digestive enzymes. And these digestive enzymes are being secreted by they are secreted by okay? Sabi ko, exocrine pancreas is responsible for secretion of enzymes. Pancreatic enzymes responsible for digestion. And these are secreted by the pancreatic acids. Diba? And the acinar cells are responsible for the secretion of pancreatic enzymes. Now, when it comes to the endocrine function, ito na, the other part of the pancreas, which the pancreatic island, also known as your island of Langerhans, and yung endocrine function. And the island of Langerhans is basically composed of two major cells. But two major cells will have your alpha and the beta cells. Diba? So, the alpha cells is responsible for the secretion of glucagon. Okay? It's responsible for the secretion of glucagon, which increases the blood glucose level. Note, it is responsible to increase the blood glucose level by, of course, stimulation of glycogenolysis, by formation of glucose. On the other hand, we have another cell, which is the beta cell of the islet, in which the main function is to lower the blood glucose level because it is responsible for secretion of insulin. How will it decrease the blood glucose level? Pag pinababa, kaya sabi natin kanina, it increases the level of blood glucose via glycogenolysis or glycogenolysis and the like. But how it will reduce the blood glucose level?
Facilitates glucose uptake in the
Facilitates local uptake in enterocytes. So not necessarily enterocytes, because almost all cells of the body will require glucose. Diba? For example, your skeletal muscle cell, your hepatocyte, diba? And what else? Your cells of body. Even your skin cells. Diba? So, even your white blood cells, so they would require glucose they would require insulin for the uptake of glucose. Diba? Para pumasok ang glucose into the cell, required ang insulin. And in that case, that would reduce the blood glucose level. Okay? Again, the pancreas has both an exocrine and an endocrine function. Since we are dealing with disorders of the endocrine system, we will mainly focus on the function of the islets, pancreatic islets or the islets of Langerhans. But before that, someone with pancreatitis. So pancreatitis is simply an inflammation of the pancreas. Right? So this will become severe, and the digestive enzymes that are normally inactive can become active. And so this is what happens, in pancreatitis. So there is, kaya sabi natin, autodigestion of the pancreas because of the activation of the normally inactive enzymes. Diba? So normally, the pancreas is secreting inactive enzymes. That is to prevent self-digestion of the pancreas. Imagine, if the pancreas is secreting active pancreatic protease, so this would cause instant digestion of the pancreas. Napakasakit nun. So that's why it has to be in its inactive form. But in this particular case, there is an auto or self-activation of the pancreatic enzymes. Right? So, pancreatitis to the core are in acute or chronic form. With acute pancreatitis, inflammations occur suddenly with little or no permanent damage to the pancreas itself. But acute pancreatitis. Are you familiar with acute pancreatitis? Familiar? Narinig mo na yun?
Yes. Meron bang artista na naman na paano yan?
Hindi na yun. Okay? So, sino ba ang paano yan? Ibang generation na nga pala yun. Kasi, si Rico yan. Okay na lang. Rico lang narinig. Okay na sa Rico yan. Okay. Ano na yung kinamatay ng Rico yan? Accident. Hindi. Natulog siya yun. Sabi ay, bangungot. Bakit na bangungot? Kasi, natutulog siya, tapos, matay na, tinagising. So, merong mga anecdote na medyo, diba pagka pinabangungot, merong sound na ginagawa. Okay? So, meron ito certain things like that. So, how is acute pancreatitis related to bangungot? Bakit sinabi, acute pancreatitis yun, bakit hindi bangungot? Ito mga kaya. Okay, so based on the autopsy finding, there is certain degree of acute pancreatitis, certain hemorrhage of the pancreas, which is an indication of acute pancreatitis. So paano lang yun? How is it related? Now, it is said that acute pancreatitis is more common among male active individual. Okay? Specifically, if they are sleeping after meal, after a heavy meal. Diba? Eh, hindi na naranasan kung pagka pinabangumot, diba? Kasi natulog ng puso. And how is it related to that? Again, that would have something to do on the position when you sleep. Ano ba dapat ang position mo na tulog? Ha?
Nakaside.
Saan? So, nakaside sa left. Left lateral recumbency. Bakit? Ha? Bakit? Okay, kung tingin natin anatomy, human anatomy, yung stomach, yung greater curvature of the stomach, saan nakapis? Sa kaliwa. And basically, the pancreas is on the right side. So, if you have a heavy meal, then you are lying on the right side. The weight of the stomach will compress the pancreas, preventing the release of the enzymes into the pancreatic duct. So, the enzymes that is being released would be activated kapag hindi siya nag-flow into the duodenum. And that will cause the damage to the pancreas. That's why most of the manifestations will be characterized as hemorrhage, but because of the autodigestion of the pancreas itself. Okay? Kaya sabi, wala naman talaga medical term for the bangungot, di ba? But it has been associated with acute pancreatitis. Okay? So, kaya minsan mga nagkakaganon, common, male. Inano pa? Asian. Male, may Asian, may active, na matataw. Okay? Kasi laing pursuit. Okay? So, yun, kaya ang mga conditions. Now, with chronic pancreatitis, so this results in carnation formation in the pancreas, which in turn decrease the ability of the pancreas to function properly. So most of the time, this is related to other causes. Pwedeng there is an initial infection to the pancreas, okay? O kaya may certain parasitic infection, okay? So pwedeng nag-migrate yung larva o particular parasite into the pancreas. Hindi naman talaga yung kanyang site, but kaya na-damage yung migration. So manifestations, so pancreatitis may be due to high fat, low protein diet, and even trauma, particularly direct trauma to the pancreas. It's also associated with other diseases like Cushing disease and even diabetes. So if you have this particular disorder, you are more prone to development of pancreatitis as well. Some drugs and toxins and even infections such as toxoplasma, viral infection, and even inflammation of the bile duct. So inflammation of the bile duct, so not only bacterial, not only viral, but even parasitic. For example, you have your flukes. Okay? So if they tend to obstruct the normal passageway of the pancreatic duct, then that enzyme will reflux into the pancreas, causing pancreatitis. Symptoms: depression, anorexia, vomiting, abdominal pain, severe abdominal pain, diarrhea, dehydration, and even jaundice. Now, jaundice, so again, this is related because of, remember, sabi natin, there is a common bile duct, right? So, pancreatic and bile duct. So, therefore, okay, there's a possibility that there will be a reflux of pancreatic enzymes to the liver, and causing damage to the liver, resulting in jaundice. So we also have pancreatic islet cell tumor. Although this tumor is insulin secreting, take note that this is also capable of secreting gastrin. So gastrin secretion results in vomiting and weight loss. So the increase in gastrin secreted by the tumor, ito kanyang function, it stimulates the secretion of hydrochloric acid in the stomach. So there's an increase in gastrin secretion. So there's an increase in hydrochloric acid, resulting in the stomach being prone to damage brought about by excessive amount of hydrochloric acids. Okay? So the most common manifestation basically would be ulcerations. So makikita tayo yan. Okay, although this can also be associated with hypoglycemia, weakness, convulsion, increased blood insulin concentration. So actually, these convulsions are related to this insulin secretion. They know that is also capable of secreting insulin. Okay? So too much insulin, what happens? This will lead to hypoglycemia. And hypoglycemia, severe hypoglycemia, will result in convulsion. Kahit naman siguro tayo, pag gutom na gutom tayo, okay? Di ba? Ilang araw hindi kumain, okay, di ba convulse? Okay, because of the lack of energy or glucose. So this is an islet cell carcinoma. Usually a very large cell tumor within the pancreas. But more importantly, going to the disorders of the endocrine system, we have our diabetes mellitus. Do not confuse this with another diabetes, which is diabetes insipidus. Okay? Kaya pag sinasabi kayo, ano sakit diabetes? Ano diabetes? Okay? So we have diabetes mellitus, we also have diabetes insipidus. Okay? So diabetes mellitus is caused by a decrease in insulin production by the pancreatic islet, or a decrease in responsiveness of the body cells to the action of insulin. So therefore, basically, we have two types of diabetes mellitus. Diba? We have an insulin-dependent diabetes mellitus and a non-insulin-dependent diabetes mellitus, or simply type 1 and type 2 diabetes mellitus. Okay? So if there is diabetes mellitus, although there is a sufficient number of glucose in the blood for use by tissues and cells, most body tissues cannot use that particular glucose. Because again, the insulin is required for the uptake of glucose by the cells. Okay? Now, do all cells require insulin for the uptake of glucose? Kailangan ba lahat ng cell ng insulin?
Yes. Yes. No.
Okay, sinabi niya no. So, ano yung mga cells na hindi nag-require ng insulin?
So what cells do not require insulin for the uptake of glucose?
Sabi po no. Okay. Pero tama ang sabi niya. Okay. Not all cells naman require insulin for the uptake of glucose. Particularly, red blood cells do not require insulin for the uptake of glucose. Okay? The renal tubular cells do not require insulin for the uptake of glucose. But most cells of the body, muscle cells, skin cells, bone cells, etc., they will require insulin for the uptake of glucose. Okay? So most of the body cells will require insulin. There are two types of diabetes mellitus. The type 1 and the type 2 diabetes mellitus. Type 1 diabetes mellitus is due to destruction of the beta cells of the pancreatic islet, okay, resulting in complete loss of insulin secretion. This is insulin dependent, okay, from the diagnosis. So we can say at the outset, okay, there is a reduction in insulin production. So this could be congenital, and that's why they even young human or individual might have diabetes at a very early age. So this could be congenital. Okay? So in this particular case, the pancreas is secreting little or no insulin at all. So therefore, even if glucose is present extracellularly or in the extracellular fluid, without the insulin or less insulin, so therefore, this transporter for glucose will not allow the uptake of glucose from the extracellular fluid into the cell. Meaning sabihin, the cells will not take in glucose. Although again, although we are talking here of the role of insulin for the uptake of glucose, take note that insulin is also required for the uptake of other substances, including minerals. Magnesium, for example. Even fatty acids. The absorption or the entry of these substances into the cell will also require insulin. But syempre, since we are dealing with the endocrine system or diabetes mellitus, we will concentrate only on glucose. So again, with the absence of insulin, this will prevent the entry of glucose into the cell. So meaning, para sa atin, ang dami pagkain, but we are starving. Because we cannot take in that food. Now, with the type 2 diabetes mellitus, this is characterized by insulin resistance. Over time, this will eventually develop into insulin dependent. So what happens in this particular case? In this particular case, you have sufficient glucose in the ECM. You have sufficient insulin. But what is the problem here? Probably, there's a defect in the signaling mechanism between the insulin receptor and the glucose transporter. Para hindi na-relay ang message from the receptor to the glucose transporter. Or, ito mas common nangyayari ngayon. Particularly in cases of obesity. In cases of obesity, what happens is that because of too much nutrient, too much glucose in the body, the receptors might not be responsive to the insulin. Pag nasisobrahan talaga, no? It might not be responsive. At the same time, in case of obesity, the adipocytes would secrete certain substances that would cause downregulation of the insulin receptor. We say downregulation of the genes of the insulin receptor, so therefore, there will be less receptors that will be present on its cell. So less receptor, less action for our insulin. So less uptake of glucose. So that's why this is called type 2 diabetes mellitus. So this happens over time. Pag pinabayaan ang sarili, no? This happens over time. Specifically, when you have high glucose in the blood or you have chronic hyperglycemia. So therefore, this type 2 diabetes mellitus is also known as secondary. And the type 1 is also known as the primary diabetes mellitus. Now, other conditions naman, will we experience or other ones will experience chronic hyperglycemia? Pwede ba yun? Aside from the diet, kailan pa tayo pwede magkaroon ng chronic hyperglycemia? Kailan pa tataas ang glucose level?
Any other disease condition? Wala natin.
Very good. In cases of Cushing disease or hypertensivism, di ba? to secretion of glucocorticoid which will elevate the glucose level in the blood. Diba? So kung meron kayo sakit nun, you have chronic hyperglycemia. And sabi natin, chronic hyperglycemia, eventually this will lead to your type 2 diabetes mellitus. What else? What else? Huh? What else? Oh, imagine. Kanina, physiologically, what raises blood glucose level? Glucagon. So if you are getting exogenous glucagon, or sabi natin, you have a tumor that's secreting glucagon, an increase in the glucagon level will tend to increase the blood glucose level. Tama? So therefore, you might develop type 2 diabetes mellitus as well. Okay? The same is true if you have an excessive amount of growth hormone. So because this will also antagonize the action of your insulin. In women, pregnant women, in particular, they have high levels of progesterone. Okay? So progesterone din. That's why, kasi human, if you are pregnant, isa rin binabantayan would be an increase in the blood glucose level, which may predispose to diabetes mellitus. Diba? Sabi dyan, parang gestational diabetes mellitus because of gestational hyperglycemia attributed to the effects of progesterone. Okay? Manifestations. Of course, there's hyperglycemia and subsequent glucosuria, which will develop. The glucosuria leads to excessive urination and thirst. Okay? Polyuria and polydiction. Okay? Okay? Bakit nga? Kaya nagkaroon ng polyuria?
Karoon ng decrease ng sodium.
Decrease ng sodium reabsorption? Kaya pwede rin nyo, decrease in glucose reabsorption. Not necessarily decrease in glucose reabsorption. Kasi, dito yun, Okay. So, within the renal tubules, sabi natin, around 90% of sodium being presented in the renal tubule should be reabsorbed. But if we compare that to glucose, around 99% of glucose being presented to the renal tubule should be reabsorbed. Tama? So therefore, if you're being presented with glucose and sodium, this will relatively favor the reabsorption of glucose. That's why pwede siya mag-cause ng hyponatremia. So you should also guard your sodium level. But that is not the main cause. Okay? Kaya nagkaroon ng ating polyuria. But the polyuria is brought about by hyperosmolarity attributed to our glucose. Okay? Sabi niya, increase in osmotic pressure. Ito lang, osmosis. Ano yung osmosis? Sino, ano pa? Ano yung osmosis?
Parang lipat ko yung isa ng molecule to arythromycin.
Kaya pala may tatanong, osmotic pressure, osmotic pressure.
Ano po, mag-a-attract po yung soluble water. Kaya po magkakaroon ng movement ng fluid papunta sa area of higher solid
Now, is it the diffusion?
Basic physiology. Ano ba kaya mo ng osmosis from diffusion?
Ano lang yun? Ano yun? Diffusion?
Ako, hindi nga nagkakaintindihan. Oh. Kaya tayo tumatagal actually kasi mga basic, Okay, so, diffusion. Una, diffusion. Diffusion is the movement of molecules. Anong molecules? Water molecules? Solute or what? Okay, so we have here a biological system. Okay, there is concentration gradient. Okay, so sabihin natin, ito yung solute, ito yung solvent. When we say diffusion, this is the movement of solutes from an area of high solute concentration to an area of low solute concentration until equilibrium is reached. Ay, tatandaan yun. Until equilibrium is reached. So therefore, in this particular case, there's movement of solute. In this case, one solute will move from biological system B to biological system A such that there is homeostasis. Now, if we have osmosis, this is the movement of water, in this case, solvent, okay, from an area of, saan naman yun? Oh, saan pupunta naman water? Sabi na, tayo from high solute to low solute concentration. Pagka ganun, ano mangyayari? Kung dalawa to, movement ng water, papunta doon, will there be equilibrium? Para mas dinagin mo pa to. Diba? Okay? So, in this case, from low solute concentration to high solute concentration until equilibrium is reached. Take note, the movement is not of the solute, but of water. Kaya, pag nasa natin sa ating osmosis, as in this case, sabi natin lagi, water follows. Because that particular solute creates an osmotic effect. Okay, so water ay nag-move. Okay, so clear na yun. Okay, so in this case, going back here, we have our glucosuria, okay, resulting in glucosuria. Ang glucose, sumamantay sa urine. So therefore, mag-a-attract yun ng water, resulting in polyuria. And because of polyuria, okay, the body will sense that there's a reduction in fluid na parang dehydrated. This will stimulate the thirst mechanism. So there is polydipsia. Okay? So in any case of diabetes, whether diabetes mellitus or diabetes insipidus, there is polyuria and polydipsia. Okay? So lethargy and weight loss develop despite a good appetite. The arrangement in fat and protein metabolism, accelerating them and causing eventually, eventually this will result in incompetence, vomiting, and weakness. Okay? Now, another manifestation of diabetes mellitus, which is common even in human, is that there is a decrease in resistance to bacterial and fungal infection. Kaya nga di ba, sabi, bawal magkasugat. Pag nagkasugat, ano nangyayari? This wound will not heal. It's prone to infection until this will form a gangrene, so putol, so haptocat, anterior, etc. But that's the main manifestation for the human. Now, why did that happen? Why is an animal or individual with diabetes mellitus more prone to bacterial and fungal infection? Ang kaya? Bali? Taragod na eh. O, dito kaya. Bakit kaya? So the glucose may form may microbial replication. For once, may merong certain truth na sabi natin, almost all cells of the body would require insulin for the uptake of glucose. And glucose is necessary for the action of our cells. Now, what important cell is possible to fight infection would be our polymorphonuclear cells, our neutrophils, our macrophages. So therefore, if this particular glucose cannot enter the cells, this would cause an impaired function of our polymorphonuclear cells, meaning an impaired chemotaxis, impaired phagocytic activity, its microbicidal activity will also be lost, diba? As well as ability to adhere to cells or tissues. So those functions of our polymorphonuclear cells would be reduced. Hence, the body will succumb to infection. Pinaka-common yan. So, what else? Ano pa? Pang-common. Sabi rin, if an animal has wound, or if an individual has wound, and it has diabetes mellitus, most of the time, the individual does not know that he or she has wound. Tama? Hindi niya lang kasi nararamdaman, kaya nagkasuga. And what's the reason behind that?
Manas.
What is the reason behind that?
Sa manas po.
Sa manas?
Sa manas kaya yun? Yes, sabi.
Sige.
Okay, so, there's defective blood vessel. Paano defective?
Hindi nararamdaman.
Bakit ka hindi nararamdaman? So, kung sabi nyo defective yung blood vessel. There's microangiopathy resulting from a thickened capillary basement membrane. So, kumakapal yun. So, therefore, the flow of blood to that particular blood vessel, specifically small blood vessel, is being affected. And that would also include the blood vessels that are supplying the nerves. Okay? So, remember that there are also blood vessels supplying blood to the nerves. Ang tanong sa mga blood vessels din? We have blood vessels supplying your blood vessels, right? These are called, siyempre hindi naman, porke, ayun ay isang blood vessel, yung dugo na lumalalo yun, ay kanya kukunin. Diba? There must be a blood supply to it as well. Ang tapos, vasa vasorum. Sa nervous tissue, vasa nervosum. Okay? So, but this they are affected. So therefore, the blood supply to these particular nerves are also affected. So the function of that particular nerve is also affected. So there is also neuropathy. So we have microangiopathy. We also have neuropathy resulting from a reduction in blood supply to that particular nerve or nervous tissue. At the same time, because of an increase in glucose concentration in the blood, there is also an increase in viscosity of the blood. And because of an increase in viscosity, of course, the normal flow of blood it will also be affected. Imagine, ang labot ng dugo. Okay? So therefore, its flow, particularly to a distant part of the body, is also being affected. And another manifestation, which is common, particularly among dogs, is the development of cataracts. Okay? How is cataract related to our diabetes mellitus? Yan, ano? Cataracts sa mata. Okay? Bakit? So again, this is related to a unique sorbitol pathway in the eyes in which glucose is being converted to an alcohol, which is sorbitol, and eventually being converted into another sugar, which is fructose. Okay, so meaning glucose to sorbitol to fructose. So basically, within the lens of the eye, there's this special metabolic pathway. So glucose is converted to alcohol. Now, this alcohol sugar increase in the lens of the eye will tend to increase the tonicity. Okay? Tonicity of the solution in the eye. And hence, this may tend to precipitate. Such precipitation is the reason why there is this cloudiness in the eye, or what we call cataract. Okay? So, just na kasi yung mga lenticular fibers of the lens when this sugar alcohol precipitates. Okay? And another manifestation, so this is a manifestation of diabetic neuropathy, particularly in cats. May nakasi ba kayo abnormal din sa cat? Yung pag-apak. So this is what we call plantigrade stance of the animal. Plantigrade stance of the animal. So this again, another manifestation of diabetes mellitus, particularly in animal. Kasi sabi niya, normally, ito lang dapat. Kaya in this case, hagan na. This is what we call plantigrade stance of the animal. Yes? May tanong? Because of the effect on the nerves. Diba? Sa gating meron tayong nervous neuropathy. So, what controls this is physical nerve. Right? So, affected ang nerve because of a reduced blood supply or nutrient to the nerve, so syempre, affected. Okay? So, this will result in plantigrade stance. Now, another ill effect of diabetes mellitus, particularly common among humans, is that this will even lead to kidney damage. Okay? Diba? Meron tayong angiopathy, meron tayong neuropathy, pati ba naman nephropathy. Kaya affected din in cases of diabetes mellitus. Diba? Bakit? How is that so? If you have diabetes mellitus, there's an increase in blood glucose level. And sabi natin, this may cause an increase in the viscosity of the blood. Because of an increase in viscosity of the blood, what happens to the blood pressure? An increase in blood pressure. Okay? So, an increase in blood pressure together with those highly viscous blood will then affect the filtering ability of the glomeruli. Okay? So, affected na yung glomeruli. So, therefore, this will eventually lead to our nephropathy. So, if an individual has diabetes mellitus, the no treatment, particularly in cases of type 1 diabetes mellitus, is insulin. However, there's a potential danger in giving insulin, especially if that is not monitored properly. Okay? If you're giving too much insulin, this will lead eventually to hypoglycemia. Again, we're talking here of type 1 diabetes mellitus, in which you have normal receptors. Okay? So, too much insulin is causing too much hypoglycemia, so therefore the manifestations, primarily weakness, wobbly gait, even convulsion and coma. Okay? So, kay mga artista na ganyan, kay performers, habang nag-perform, tulad ni
Yung gate po.
Sino lang?
Ilan beses na nangyari sa kanya yun? Diba? Kahit na yung mga lumang chismis na artista, medyo alam ko, pero yung bago ko, yung mga kilala mo siya yung artista na yun. You know? Bagong-bago daw si Raisa Melissa. Ilan taon na ba yung bago? So, any question? Yeah? Okay. So, let's now proceed with the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland is the master endocrine gland, controlling the action of most of the endocrine organs. Okay? So, the main disorder associated with it is acromegaly and diabetes insipidus. What is Wait. So acromegaly, good. So this occurs when there is an excessive amount of growth hormone. Sino yung gusto nun? Okay. Oh, sino gusto mangkad? Okay. So acromegaly, by an excessive amount of growth hormone caused usually by a growth hormone secreting pituitary tumor. So remember that the pituitary gland is also essential for the secretion of growth hormone. Now, acromegaly happens in adulthood. No? It happens in adult, particularly when the epiphyses of the bones have already been closed. Kailan na-close in epiphyses? Diba? So after maturity, diba? Sometimes sabi 18, sometimes diba 21, no? Okay? So, okay, after the epiphysis has closed, and you have like this, okay, excessive amount of growth hormone, this will result in acromegaly. Now, why that gigantism? Nothing. But diba, excessive amount of growth hormone will result in gigantism as well. With gigantism, usually this happens if the individual is young. Specifically when the epiphyseal phase or plate has not yet closed. So therefore, the difference in manifestation would be with gigantism. Giant, ano? So this is usually manifested by an extremely long bones. That's long limbs, etc. Long limbs. Right? So that pertains to longer femur, right? Probably longer radius, ulna, right? Referring to all the limbs. But in cases of acromegaly, wherein the epiphyseal disc has already been closed, usually an animal or individual would have enlarged, heavy, thick hands and feet only. Kaya sabi acro, only the acral part or the agral part of the appendages would be affected. Okay? Kaya makita mo, medyo makakamukha, medyo ang haba kahit ng mga galabay, etc. Again, acromegaly against our gigantism. But, pareho yung cause. excessive secretion of growth hormone by the pituitary gland. Pathophysiologic processes. Okay? Animals with acromegaly are also prone to development of diabetes mellitus, as we have discussed a while ago, because of the effect of chronic growth hormone excess on blood sugar metabolism. Since growth hormone antagonizes the action of insulin. Eh sabi natin, the action of insulin is to allow glucose to enter the cell. So therefore, excessive amount of growth hormone will also prepare the movement of glucose into the cell as well. Okay? So they're very prone to the development of diabetes mellitus. Symptoms may include, in this case, large headed pause, forward jutting of the lower jaw, weight gain, enlarged abdomen, thick skin, and even enlargement of many organs. As in this picture, no? Okay? So these are actually siblings or littermates. Okay? So one is having an acromegaly, and the other one is actually normal. Okay? Ano na? Parang niya. Magkasikilan sila. Now, on the other hand, we also have pituitary dwarfism. So, basically, you would think that this is just the opposite of our acromegaly or gigantism, also known as hypopituitarism. Okay? Hypopituitarism. Usually, a reduction in the synthesis and secretion of hormones by the pituitary gland. Pero, no. Okay? Dwarfism. Although it's said that there's pituitary dwarfism or there's dwarfism, the effect on other organs by other hormones being secreted by the pituitary gland is also affected. Kaya lang, sabi natin, di ba? If you're dealing with endocrine disorders, you have to look for the target organ. And the most obvious manifestations that can be observed would be on the skeleton or the body frame of the animal. Kaya ito, ang pinaka-obvious, pituitary dwarfism. So this is an inherited defect caused by a defect in the differentiation of the oropharyngeal ectoderm of the rachis pouch. This is nothing wrong, di ba? In one of the mechanisms of endocrine disorder, di ba? Failure of development. Anong adult fate? The anterior pituitary. Diba, the neurohypophyseal part is the embryonic form ng ating posterior pituitary. Okay? So, affected animals appear normal at birth. Ito nakita. But, as the animal ages, symptoms tend to appear, which may include reduced growth rate, retention of deciduous teeth, and even puppy hair among dogs. Alopecia, delayed closure of epiphyseal growth plates, infantile genitalia, and the animal generally has shortened lifespan. Shortened lifespan because it cannot adapt to the environment. Take note, pituitary gland also secreting ACTH, which is responsible for the secretions of the adrenal cortex, particularly your glucocorticoids. No? So that would affect the stress response of the animal. So basically, they have shortened lifespan. So therefore, in this particular case, there is simply an absence of the adenohypophysis that is responsible for secretion of most trophic and stimulating hormones. So these are just some of the possible causes of hypopituitarism. For example, in this case, a progressively enlarging cyst Diba? 6. Which may cause complete or partial occlusion or compression of the adenum hypophysis. Okay? Now, since the adenum hypophysis or the anterior pituitary gland is closely related to the posterior pituitary gland, this means that this may also compress the posterior pituitary gland, affecting its secretion as well. Okay? So what else? Okay. Any form of abscesses. As in this case, a pituitary abscess of the pituitary gland itself. Okay, so that can affect the secretion of both stimulating and tropic hormones. A different manifestation of pituitary partition. These are the terminates. Are they normal? Normal. This has the pituitary partition. So take note of the particularly stunted growth of the animal. As in this case, with the retention of juvenile hair or puppy hair, and eventually leading to alopecia. Now, if you look at the skin, usually this is manifested also by hyperpigmentation. Okay? Hyperpigmentation associated with pituitary partition. Wait, that's not. Okay. Then we have another diabetes. Okay. So diabetes insipidus. In this case, is caused by a deficiency in the secretion of vasopressin. Vasopressin, also known as your anti-diuretic hormone, or the kidney's inability to respond to your vasopressin hormone. Vasopressin or anti-diuretic hormone is produced by anti-diuretic hormone by the hypothalamus. Used by the hypothalamus is stored and secreted by the posterior pituitary gland. Okay? So, there are two conditions resulting in diabetes insipidus. Again, one is a deficiency in the secretion of vasopressin by the hypothalamus. This condition is referred to as central diabetes insipidus. Okay? Central diabetes insipidus, because of the absence of secretion of anti-diuretic hormone. But in the second case, there is anti-diuretic hormone being secreted by the posterior pituitary gland. However, the kidneys fail to respond to the action of anti-diuretic hormone. And this condition is known as nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. Okay? So, central diabetes insipidus, and we have nephrogenic diabetes insipidus. Okay? So, yun tanong sa exam, which I have discussed also in our discussion of the urinary system. Right? So, pathophysiologic processes. First is the kidney's inability to respond to vasopressin caused by certain drugs. And even the diseases of the kidney itself. So, or the reason for pituitary decreased secretion of vasopressin include a pituitary tumor, or a pituitary cyst, or even a heat trauma. Okay, so pwede maging cause. Or simply a deficient in secretion of vasopressin by the pituitary gland. So, in the first case, central diabetes insipidus, very simple. Okay? An effect on the hypothalamus production or the secretion by your posterior pituitary gland. But with nephrogenic diabetes insipidus, so ano pwede ba yan dyan? One reason probably is a genetic defect Okay, on the receptors. Okay, so receptors. So receptor for our antidiuretic hormone, which is present on the renal tubular cells. Okay, so ganito. Okay, or even in the collecting duct. Or another reason is a defect in this molecule. This is aquaporins. Okay, aquaporin. So the protein channel in which water will flow. Okay, so again, aquaporin. Okay, so a defect on the receptor or a defect on the aquaporins. So both resulting in ano nangyari? Ano may manifestations ng ating diabetes insipidus? Polyuria. Okay? Polyuria. Why? So again, the site of action of our antidiuretic hormone is the collecting duct. Sabi natin, the collecting duct. Which allows natin the process of pure water only. Wala siyang kinalaman sa sodium. Okay? Pure water only. Okay? So technically, if the animal is, sabihin natin, is subjected to extremes in temperature, sobrang init. You are perspiring. You are perspiring and you don't have enough water. So what will be the body's reaction? The body's reaction is to see there's polyuria. Pero ano gagawin ng body? To prevent the too much loss of fluid. Reabsorption. Water reabsorption. Pure water reabsorption at the level of the collecting duct. Okay? So yun ang ginagawa niya. Now, kung may diabetes insipidus, even if, sabi na natin, merong antidiuretic hormone, okay? In this case, nephrogenic, the antidiuretic hormone may not interact with the receptor or probably an effect in the aquaporins. So what would happen? Okay? Water will not be reabsorbed. So therefore, water will remain in the lumen of these tubes, the renal tubes, and eventually will be eliminated as urine. So therefore, there is this one particular test to detect this. And this is water deprivation test. Water deprivation test. Simple. You have to deprive the animal of water. Okay? Depriving the animal of water would technically, ano pwede mangyari? Result in production of hypertonic small amount of urine. Diba? A very concentrated urine. Now, if an animal has diabetes insipidus, whether central or nephrogenic diabetes insipidus, if you do water deprivation test, the animal will still produce hypotonic solution or hypotonic urine. Hypotonic urine with large amount or large volume. So that will confirm your diagnosis of diabetes insipidus. Now, if an animal has already been dehydrated, do not test na naman for water deprivation test. Mahaba na mangyari sa ating animal. No? Sometimes water deprivation test or vasopressin injection test. Okay, so do not perform those tests if the animal is already dehydrated. Okay? Question? Wala. Meron pa tayong 10 minutes. O gusto mo ituloy? Gusto mo ituloy? 10 minutes? Ayun talaga. Hoy, sit down, mag-lunch down muna ako. Kasi lunch mo yung gagawin siya. Okay, so with ano? Wala? Okay, sige. I will send you na lang the lecture, please. Okay. So again, with type 2 diabetes mellitus, sabi natin kanina, this is non-insulin dependent. So therefore, this cannot be treated with insulin. Kasi sabi natin, normal amount of insulin in the body. Kaya lang, ang problema ay ang receptors. Okay? Because of too much of the sugar, there's down-regulation of receptors. So kahit pagkano madaming insulin, there will be no effect. Okay? So dapat regulated lang by itong pagkain. Kaya so manage mo na. Okay? Yan. So, ano lang ang common? So, syempre sa ngayon, dahil sa sobrang bilis makakuha ng mga processed food, sweets, etc. And with the increasing number of obesity, mas common na ngayon ang type 2 diabetes mellitus in contrast with type 1. Kasi talagang tumatami. Although again, so, marami pa dyan na unreported or even untested. Diba? Kasi, siguro mga ako obese, magpapacheck ba ako? Hindi naman, diba? Yan. So, marami pa. Kasi tumataas ang cases ng obesity sa iba. Okay? So, kung wala na, okay,